They told 5-year-old Michael Jackson to go home. The audition was over. No more slots. Come back next year. But Michael didn't turn around. He just asked one question, and 27 seconds later, a casting director was chasing him down the hallway with a contract in hand. The line stretched around the block. 73 kids, maybe more. Michael couldn't count past 20 yet, but he knew it was a lot, because his feet hurt, and the sun had moved from one side of the building to the other. His oldest brother, Jackie, kept checking his watch. Tito leaned against the brick wall, eyes closed. Jermaine sat on the curb, picking at a loose shoelace. "Stay close," their father said, voice low. "When they call us, don't mess around." Michael nodded. He'd been nodding all morning, nodding when his father told him to wear the blue shirt, nodding when his mother smoothed his hair with water from the kitchen sink, nodding when Jackie said, "You're just backup, okay? Don't try anything." But Michael wasn't thinking about backup. He was thinking about the song, the one his mother hummed while she ironed shirts, the one that played on the radio late at night when everyone else was asleep. He knew all the words, every single one. The door opened. A woman with a clipboard stepped out, squinting in the afternoon glare. "Next group," she called. They filed inside, Jackie first, then Tito, then Jermaine. Michael stayed at the back, one hand gripping the hem of his father's jacket. The hallway smelled like coffee and old carpet. Somewhere deeper in the building, a piano played 3 notes, stopped, played them again. Wait, don't skip this part. What happened in that hallway mattered more than anyone knew yet. A boy walked past them, headed for the exit. His mother's hand was on his shoulder, steering him toward the door. The boy's face was red, eyes down. Michael watched him go, watched the way his mother didn't say anything, just kept walking. The boy had been crying. Michael could tell from the way his shoulders moved. Another kid came out behind them, older, maybe 10. He was smiling, talking fast to his father about what the judges said. His father nodded, one hand ruffling the kid's hair. Michael looked up at his own father. His father was staring straight ahead, jaw tight. "Stay focused," his father said. Michael nodded again. "Jackson family?" The woman with the clipboard didn't look up. "Room C. You've got 5 minutes to set up." Room C was smaller than Michael expected. A folding table, 3 chairs, a microphone on a stand, tilted slightly left. The man behind the table wore glasses and a tie. He didn't smile. 2 other people sat beside him, a woman with short dark hair and a younger man in a sweater vest. They were both writing something on yellow pads. Names. The man with glasses said, "Pen ready." "Jackie, Tito, Jermaine," their father said, pointing at each one. "They're a group. Harmonies. Choreography. The whole thing." The man wrote something down. His pen made a scratching sound against the paper. "And him?" He nodded toward Michael. "He's with them," their father said. "Back up." The woman with short hair looked up. She studied Michael for a second, then went back to her notepad. "Fine. Whenever you're ready. But here's the part you can't miss." What happened next wasn't in the plan. Jackie counted them in. 1, 2, 3. The harmony started clean, tight. Jermaine hit the first verse, voice smooth and even. Tito came in on the second line, adding depth. Jackie carried the high end. It sounded good, really good. Michael could hear people in the hallway slowing down to listen through the door. Michael stood at the back, swaying slightly, lips moving with the words. He wasn't supposed to sing. Just stand there, look presentable. That's what his father said. But halfway through the second verse, something shifted. Jermaine's voice cracked, just a little, barely noticeable, and Jackie overcompensated, went sharp on the next note. The harmony wobbled, not enough for the man at the table to stop them, but enough that Michael felt it in his chest, like a string pulled too tight. He opened his mouth, not loud, just enough to fill the gap. A single note, clean and centered, holding the harmony in place. Jackie's head snapped around. Tito missed the next line entirely. Jermaine stopped singing, just stared. The man at the table looked up. So did the woman. The younger man in the sweater vest put his pen down. Who's singing now? Michael closed his mouth. The room went quiet. His father's hand landed on his shoulder, heavy and firm. Sorry, his father said. He wasn't supposed to. No. The man held up one hand. Let him finish. Notice how everything changed with one word. Michael looked at his father. His father looked at the man at the table. The man at the table looked at Michael. Go ahead, the man said. From the top. Jackie started the count again, but this time, Michael didn't wait. He stepped forward, one hand reaching for the microphone stand. His fingers barely wrapped around it. He had to tilt his head back just to reach the mic. His brothers stayed where they were, frozen, unsure what to do. And then he sang. Not backup. Not harmony. The whole thing. Every word his mother had hummed. Every note the radio played late at night. He didn't think about his brothers standing behind him. Didn't think about his father's hand still resting on his shoulder. He just sang because the song was there in his chest, and it had to come out. 1 second. Don't skip this. Listen to what happened next. The man at the table put his pen down. Slowly, the scratching sound stopped. The woman with short hair stopped writing too. She tilted her head, eyes narrowing slightly, like she was trying to figure something out. The younger man in the sweater vest leaned forward, elbows on the table. Michael kept singing, eyes half closed now, swaying with the rhythm. His voice didn't crack, didn't waver. It just held, clear and steady, like he'd been doing this for years instead of 5. His small hand gripped the microphone stand tighter. His feet shifted slightly, one shoe squeaking on the linoleum. The song wasn't long, maybe 2 minutes, but it felt longer. The room had changed. The air had changed. Even the traffic noise from outside seemed quieter. When the last note faded, Michael opened his eyes. He let go of the microphone stand and stepped back, hands at his sides. His brothers were still standing behind him, mouths half open. His father hadn't moved. The room stayed quiet. The man at the table was staring at him, not writing, not checking his watch, just staring. The woman with short hair was doing the same thing. The younger man in the sweater vest had his pen in his hand, but he wasn't using it. Finally, the man at the table spoke. How old is he? 5, his father said. His voice sounded tight. Who taught him? Nobody. He just does it. The man leaned back in his chair. He took his glasses off, rubbed the bridge of his nose, then put them back on. He looked at Michael, looked at his brothers, looked at his father. What's his name? Michael. The man wrote it down, underlined it twice. Then he sighed, long and slow. I'm sorry, he said finally. We're full. Kid quota's done for the day. Michael's father nodded, started gathering the boys toward the door. Jackie went first, shoulders slumped. Tito second, not looking at anyone. Jermaine third, shoes dragging on the floor. Michael stayed at the microphone, hand still hovering near the stand. Come on, his father said. Let's go. But Michael didn't move. He looked at the man at the table, tilted his head slightly, the same way he did when his mother asked him a question he didn't understand. Can I sing for you anyway? Remember this moment. Everything depended on it. The man sighed, checked his watch, looked at the door, then back at Michael. The woman with short hair glanced at him. The younger man in the sweater vest raised his eyebrows. 30 seconds, the man said. That's it. Michael nodded. He didn't ask which song, didn't ask for a count-in, didn't look back at his brothers or his father. He just closed his eyes and started. A cappella, no harmony, no backup, no instruments, just his voice, and the words, and the way his mother hummed them when she thought no one was listening. He sang for 27 seconds. Then he stopped. Didn't wait for feedback. Didn't bow. Didn't smile. Just let go of the microphone stand, turned, and walked toward the door where his brothers were waiting. He made it 3 steps before the man at the table stood up. His chair scraped against the floor. "Wait." Michael stopped, turned around. The man wasn't sitting anymore. He was standing, hands flat on the table, leaning forward slightly. The woman with short hair was standing too. So was the younger man. "What's your name?" the man asked. "Michael." "Michael what?" "Michael Jackson." The man wrote something down. Fast. His handwriting was messier now, less controlled. Then he looked at Michael's father. "Leave your contact information with the front desk. I'll call you." Michael's father blinked for the group. "No," the man said. He was still looking at Michael. "For him." The woman with short hair stepped forward. "How long has he been singing?" "I don't know," Michael's father said. "Since he could talk, I guess." "Has he had training?" "No." "Voice lessons?" "No." She looked at Michael. "Have you performed before?" Michael shook his head. "Church? School?" Another head shake. She exchanged a look with the man at the table. He was still writing, still underlining things. "We'll call you," the man said again. "This week." Michael's father nodded, started moving toward the door, one hand on Michael's shoulder. Michael followed, looking back once at the man with glasses, who was still writing, still underlining. They made it halfway down the hallway, past the bathroom, past the water fountain, almost to the front door. Then they heard footsteps, fast ones, running. Michael's father turned. The man with glasses was jogging down the hallway, yellow notepad in one hand, pen in the other. He was breathing hard when he reached them. "Mr. Jackson," he said. "Wait, don't leave yet." Michael's father stopped. "Is something wrong?" The man shook his head. He looked at Michael, then back at his father. "I need you to sign something. Now, before you walk out that door." "Sign what?" "An intent form. Temporary representation. Just until we can get the full contract drawn up." He was flipping through the notepad, looking for a blank page. "I've been doing this long enough to know if I let you walk out of here without something in writing, someone else is going to find him first." Michael's father just stared at him. The man found a blank page, clicked his pen. "I'm not supposed to do this. Protocol says we review all candidates, compare notes, wait 48 hours minimum before making offers." He started writing. Fast. "But I don't care. That boy." He nodded toward Michael. "I'm not letting him get away." He tore the page out, handed it to Michael's father along with the pen. "Sign here. Bottom line, I'll have the legal team draft the full contract by Friday." Michael's father read it. Looked at Michael. Looked at the man with glasses. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." Michael's father signed, handed back the page and the pen. The man with glasses folded the paper carefully, tucked it into his shirt pocket. He crouched down, eye level with Michael. "You just became the youngest artist I've ever signed," he said. "Don't make me regret it." Michael nodded, didn't say anything, just nodded. The man stood up, shook Michael's father's hand. "I'll call you tomorrow. We'll set up the callback." Then he turned and walked back down the hallway, slower this time, not running. They left the building. The sun had moved again. The line outside was shorter now. Maybe 40 kids left, maybe fewer. Michael followed his brothers to the car, one hand in his father's. Nobody said anything. Not when they got in. Not when the engine started. Not when they pulled away from the curb. Nobody said anything until they were 2 blocks away. "What just happened?" Jackie finally asked from the back seat. Their father didn't answer right away. He just kept driving, eyes on the road, one hand on the wheel, the the other resting on the stick shift. "I don't know," he said eventually. Tito leaned forward. "Did they really say they'd call?" "Yeah." "For Michael?" "Yeah." Jermaine looked at Michael, who was sitting in the middle, staring out the window at the buildings going by. "You weren't supposed to sing," Jermaine said. Not mean, just confused. Michael didn't answer. He was watching a bird land on a telephone wire. "But here's what you need to understand. The man at that table wasn't lying when he said he'd been doing this for 30 years. He really had cast hundreds of kids. Church choirs, school plays, talent showcases across 3 states. He'd seen kids with perfect pitch, kids with stage presence, kids who could harmonize in their sleep, kids who'd been training since they were 3. But he'd never, not once, seen a 5-year-old sing like he was healing something inside himself. That night, after the kids were in bed, the man sat at his kitchen table with a glass of water and the yellow notepad from the audition. He flipped through the pages. 73 names, 73 kids, some with stars next to them, some with question marks, some crossed out entirely. At the bottom of the last page, he'd written one name in capital letters, Michael Jackson. And underneath it, in smaller handwriting, "Call Motown. Don't wait." 3 days later, the phone rang. Michael's mother answered. She was in the middle of folding laundry, sheets, mostly. She tucked the receiver between her shoulder and ear. "Hello?" A man's voice, formal, asking for Mr. Jackson. She called him over. He took the phone, listened, wrote something down on the back of an envelope. His handwriting was neat, careful. He hung up. "They want him back," he said. Michael's mother stopped folding. "Who?" "The audition people. They want Michael back, next Tuesday. Alone." Jackie looked up from his homework at the kitchen table. "Just Michael." Tito stopped playing his guitar in the corner. "What about us?" Their father didn't answer right away. He was looking at Michael, who was sitting on the floor in the living room, drawing circles on a piece of paper with a blue crayon. The TV was on, but Michael wasn't watching it. "Michael," their father said. Michael looked up, crayon still in his hand. "They want to sign you." Michael blinked. "For what?" "A record deal." The crayon stopped moving. Michael looked at the paper, at the circles, at his father, at his mother, who was still holding a folded sheet. "Do I have to sing the same song?" His father almost smiled. Almost. "No," he said. "You can sing whatever you want." Michael nodded, went back to drawing circles. His mother looked at his father. "Are you sure about this?" "No," his father said, "but we're going." The callback was different. Bigger room, more people, a piano in the corner with a man sitting at it, hands resting on the keys. A woman with sheet music spread across a music stand, a man with a camera on a tripod. 2 people in suits standing near the back wall, arms crossed, and the same man from before, the one with glasses, sitting at a different table, this time with a tape recorder in front of him. Michael stood in the middle of it all, hands at his sides, waiting. His father stood near the door. Nobody else came, just the 2 of them. "Whenever you're ready," someone said. Michael didn't see who. He closed his eyes, thought about his mother's humming, about the radio late at night, about the man at the table who'd asked, who taught him. Nobody taught him. He just knew. He opened his mouth. The room went quiet. The man at the piano didn't play. The woman with the sheet music didn't turn the page. The man with the camera didn't press record. They all just listened. Michael sang the same song he'd sung before. Then he sang a different one. Then another. Nobody stopped him. Nobody said that's enough. He just kept going, until he ran out of songs he knew all the words to. When he finished, the woman with the sheet music wasn't writing anymore. The man with the camera had lowered it. The 2 people in suits by the back wall had moved closer. The man at the piano was staring at his hands, like he'd forgotten how to use them. One of the people in suits finally spoke. How does he do that? The man with glasses, the one from before, shook his head slowly. I don't know, he said, but I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've never seen anything like it. The woman with the sheet music looked at Michael's father. Has he worked with a vocal coach? No. Breathing techniques? Pitch training? No. She looked back at Michael. Do you read music? Michael shook his head. Do you know what a scale is? Another head shake. She turned to the man with glasses. Then how? I don't know, he said again. He pressed a button on the tape recorder. It clicked. But we're signing him. Today. 6 months later, Michael Jackson recorded his first professional vocal track. He was still 5. Still too small to reach the microphone without a stool. Still drawing circles on paper with blue crayons when he got nervous. Still asking his mother to hum songs so he could learn them faster. But when the red light came on in the recording booth and the music started, none of that mattered. Because Michael didn't sing to impress anyone. He sang because something in him had to come out. And 30 years later, when a journalist asked the casting director about that day, the day he'd run down a hallway to stop a 5-year-old from leaving, he said the same thing he'd told Motown back then. I've signed hundreds of acts in my career. Gospel singers with 20 years of training, opera tenors who studied in Europe, blues legends who'd been performing since before I was born. But that boy, he didn't sing to prove anything. He sang because not singing wasn't an option. That's not talent, that's destiny. One look, one question, one song. That's all it took. And the world never forgot.